Across the United Kingdom, we're enduring a winter that refuses to let go. Weeks of gray skies and relentless rain have left the ground saturated and communities on edge. Flooding is widespread, with rivers overflowing and places like Somerset seeing homes and businesses submerged. The lack of sunshine and constant dampness have created a somber mood, while the north faces biting cold, sleet, and snow. Wildlife and livestock are struggling, and the usual west-to-east weather flow is stuck, trapping us under a conveyor belt of Atlantic moisture. The Met Office warns there's no immediate end in sight, making this a true test of resilience for everyone. This winter is a stark reminder of nature's power and our need for patience and preparedness. The most heartbreaking impact is the flooding of homes. Around 50 in Somerset remain underwater, with families displaced and uncertain. Groundwater in Wiltshire and Dorset is at record highs, causing flooding from below as well as above. In Aberdeen, residents have endured 14 sunless days, a record that weighs heavily on mental health. Farmers are losing livestock to the cold, and saturated fields threaten spring planting and future harvests. Wildlife is struggling to find food and shelter, and riverbanks are eroding under the constant flow. Pollutants are being washed into rivers, harming aquatic ecosystems. The countryside, as well as towns and cities, is bearing the scars of this relentless winter. The toll is emotional, financial, and environmental, leaving a lasting mark on the UK. The UK's seemingly endless rain isn't just a matter of bad luck, it's the result of a persistent low-pressure system parked over the Atlantic Ocean. This system acts like a conveyor belt, constantly drawing in moist air and sending wave after wave of rain clouds across the country. Day after day, it feeds the UK with a steady supply of moisture, making it feel as if the rain will never stop. Under normal circumstances, these weather systems would gradually move eastward, allowing for breaks in the rain. But this time, a powerful and stubborn high-pressure system has settled over Scandinavia. This high acts like a wall, blocking the Atlantic lows from progressing further into Europe and trapping them over the British Isles. This setup is known as a blocking pattern. The jet stream, which usually guides weather systems across the Atlantic, is forced to bend and flow around the high-pressure area. As a result, the wet weather is funneled directly over the UK, with nowhere else to go. The outcome is not just a few rainy days, but a relentless barrage of precipitation. Instead of isolated showers, the country faces week after week of persistent, soaking rain, leaving little time for the ground to dry out. With the soil already saturated from previous downpours, even a moderate rainstorm can quickly lead to flooding. Rivers and streams have little capacity left, so each new bout of rain raises water levels rapidly, threatening homes, roads, and farmland. Until one of these pressure systems finally shifts, either the Atlantic low weakens or the Scandinavian high moves away, the risk of further rain and flooding will remain high. The atmosphere is locked in a stalemate and the UK is caught in the middle. The country is effectively sandwiched between two atmospheric giants, with the Atlantic low pressing in from the west, and the Scandinavian high blocking any escape to the east. This standoff shows no sign of ending soon, leaving the UK in a soggy limbo. So, if it feels like the rain is never ending and relief is nowhere in sight, you're not imagining it. The unique clash of these two weather systems is keeping the UK under a persistent gray and very wet spell. Saturday, February 11th, brings a classic weather split across the UK, with a dramatic contrast between regions that will shape how your weekend unfolds. The country finds itself divided by a sharp weather front, setting the stage for a day of varied conditions and unpredictable skies. In the west of Scotland and across the southeast, including bustling London, expect drier and milder weather. These areas will enjoy some welcome winter sunshine, or at least bright spells, with temperatures ranging from 7 to 11 degrees. It's a good opportunity to get outside, perhaps for a stroll or to run errands, as the air will feel relatively gentle for February. In stark contrast, Wales, southwest England, Northern Ireland, and much of northern England will be under thick grey clouds facing heavy and persistent rain throughout the day. Temperatures here will hover around 9 to 10 degrees, but the dampness and wind will make it feel colder than the thermometer suggests. Expect puddles, slippery pavements, and a raw, chilly feel that will have many reaching for their warmest coats and sturdy umbrellas. For those in upland areas such as the Peak District and Lake District, the story's even more wintry. Sleet and snow are likely, especially on higher ground, creating hazardous driving conditions and the potential for travel disruption. If you're heading into the hills, be prepared for slippery roads and reduced visibility. Meanwhile, eastern Scotland will be cold and damp, with a biting wind chill that cuts through layers. The wind will make it feel several degrees colder, so wrap up well if you're venturing outside. Your experience on Saturday will depend entirely on where you are. For some, it could be a pleasant walk in the park, enjoying rare winter sunshine. For others, it may mean dashing through heavy rain, dodging puddles, and seeking shelter from sudden downpours. The pronounced east-west split is a striking feature, highlighting the ongoing battle between wet, unsettled Atlantic air pushing in from the west and more stable, drier air holding firm in the east. This tug-of-war is what's driving the dramatic differences in weather across the country. Before making any plans, be sure to check your local forecast. Conditions will vary dramatically, even over short distances. So, a quick look at the latest updates could help you avoid a soaking or make the most of a dry spell. Saturday is a day to be weather aware, wherever you are in the UK. Whether you're heading out for leisure or travel, keep an eye on the skies and be prepared for sudden changes. This is a day when the weather could truly shape your plans. Sunday, February 12th offers a welcome break. Showers become scattered, and longer dry spells emerge. Western Scotland and the southeast, including London, are set for the best weather, with a real chance of sunshine and temperatures up to 12 degrees. Elsewhere, lighter showers and bright spells replace Saturday's downpours, making it easier to get outside. Even eastern Scotland will see lighter winds and less severe cold, though it stays chilly. The day marks a transition to a more broken, showery pattern, providing much-needed relief. After weeks of gloom, a glimpse of blue sky will lift spirits. Sunday is a step in the right direction, if only a brief one. Make the most of the respite before unsettled weather returns. Monday, February 13th, is set to be the driest day in weeks, giving flood-hit areas a chance to recover. This dry spell is short-lived. By Wednesday, rain returns, especially in the south and west, renewing flood risks. Another band of rain is expected Friday, highlighting the stop-start nature of this unsettled pattern. Temperatures will stay near average, with highs mostly in the high single digits, occasionally reaching 10 or 11 degrees in the south. The cycle of brief dry spells followed by more rain continues, preventing a full recovery. No significant cold is expected until the following weekend, when a dramatic change is possible. The week ahead is a reminder that the underlying instability hasn't broken down yet. Stay alert for further updates as the weather remains unpredictable. Forecasters are closely monitoring a dramatic shift in the weather pattern expected to hit the UK around Sunday, February 19th. Both major weather models are now signaling the arrival of a significant cold snap, which could mark a sharp departure from the milder conditions experienced earlier in the month. This sudden change is drawing attention from meteorologists and the public alike, as it could bring some of the coldest air of the season so far. Temperatures are forecast to plummet rapidly, potentially dropping by as much as 7 degrees in just a 2-day span. In London, for example, the mercury could fall from a relatively mild 11 degrees down to a chilly 4 degrees, making for a stark and noticeable change. Such a swift temperature drop can catch people off guard, especially after a period of milder weather, so it's important to stay alert and prepared. The cold air mass, likely arriving from the north or east, has the potential to bring snow even to southern regions of the UK. This is a rare occurrence for London and the southeast, where snowfall is typically light or infrequent. If the forecast holds, residents in these areas could wake up to a blanket of snow, transforming familiar cityscapes and countryside into winter wonderlands. Meanwhile, northern England and Scotland are bracing for even more substantial snowfall. Here, the snow could be heavy and disruptive, leading to hazardous travel conditions, school closures, and interruptions to daily life. In the Scottish Highlands, blizzard-like conditions are possible, with strong winds and drifting snow making rural roads especially treacherous. The extent and severity of the snow will depend on the precise timing of the cold air's arrival and how much moisture remains in the atmosphere. If these elements align, snow could fall widely across the country, affecting both urban and rural areas. Meteorologists are watching these developments closely, as small changes could have a big impact on who sees snow and how much accumulates. For farmers, especially those in the midst of lambing season, this cold snap could be particularly devastating. Newborn lambs and young livestock are especially vulnerable to freezing temperatures and snow, so preparations are absolutely critical. Farmers are already taking steps to protect their animals, reinforcing shelters and ensuring extra feed is available. The risk to livestock is high, adding even more pressure to rural communities that are already facing challenges from the harsh winter. Ensuring the safety and well-being of animals becomes a top priority, and local support networks are gearing up to help those most at risk during this period of severe weather. This is a crucial warning for everyone across the UK. Be ready for a sudden, severe turn in the weather. Take time now to prepare your home, check on vulnerable neighbors, and stay tuned to official forecasts and alerts. The coming days could bring challenging conditions, so vigilance and preparation are key to staying safe. The relentless wet and cold disrupts daily life far beyond flood zones. Roads and railways suffer, with potholes, flooding, and landslips causing delays and hazards. Farmers face waterlogged fields and rising costs as livestock are kept indoors longer, risking disease and financial loss. Homes struggle with damp, mold, and the threat of burst pipes, while cold, damp air worsens health and mental well-being. Sports and outdoor activities are canceled, and parks become no-go zones, increasing frustration and confinement. The psychological toll is real. Seasonal affective disorder and a sense of being trapped are widespread. Even simple pleasures like a countryside walk are lost to mud and unstable paths. This winter's impact is felt in every corner of daily life. With flood risks and a cold snap looming, safety is paramount. Stay away from swollen rivers and never enter floodwater. Drivers should prepare for icy roads, check tires, antifreeze, and drive cautiously. Walkers in hills need full winter gear. Conditions will be severe. At home, lag pipes, and know your stopcock to prevent burst pipes. Check on vulnerable neighbors. Community support is vital in tough times. Remember, this winter will eventually end. The weather is cyclical, and spring will return. Stay informed through reliable sources like the Met Office and Environment Agency. Patience and preparedness will see us through the final weeks. Better days are ahead. Hold on for the promise of spring sunshine.